Hi guys, today I'm building a dumpster for a diorama I'm building. I'll talk you through it as I go. Here I'm just sketching out the panels on a piece of card. I just use photography paper. And then once I've got that, I transfer it onto some styrene sheet. I got dimensions and stuff off Google. There's plenty of stuff on there you can just look up. I kind of got an idea of what I wanted, and then I changed it a little bit and then made up my own templates. I'm still cutting away here. As I go, I'm cleaning up the edges of the cut styrene with a file or sandpaper. As you can see here, I generally cut the sheet with scissors if it's a wide panel I have to cut out. If it's a thinner slice of the styrene, I will just use a blade and a knife. Now, here I am just trimming and truing all the panels. As you can see with the red color set square, I'm just making sure everything's squared up, because if you start from the beginning squaring things, when you do construct it, it will be square and the box won't rattle or anything, or it'll sit level on the ground. Next up, I'm using, I think it's 2mm angle in the styrene. It's all evergreen stuff. That's all I use to scratch build. And all I'm simply doing is making a border around some of the panels to hold the box together. It's pretty much you pretty much build a box, and then it's got an angle top on it, which is your dumpster. It's quite an easy thing to scratch build. As you see, I'm using the ruler there. I'm just holding the ruler on the edge to make sure my angle is square on the edge, and then I again knit it up with a file, extra glue. I'm just using cheap super glue to scratch build, as I can get like 8 tubes for $2 at just a cheap shop, and it's fine for what I'm doing. I do use a fair bit of it, and it does go everywhere, but when you scratch build things, you have to clean them anyway, so the corners and edges and excess glue. But as you may notice, I'm doing that along the way. As you can see here, it's starting to come together as just a box. I'm just making sure everything's in the right spot and square. I trim a few things that are in the road. I'm doing this build off the top of my head, so I'm kind of making things up as I go. Okay, now that's the box. Now I waited until the structure was finished before I made the bottom, because the measurements do come out once you start gluing it all together, and this way the bottom will fit perfectly. It's actually made it oversized, and then I trim it with the scissors to make it as clean as possible, and then give it a sand to make sure it's all neat and flush on the corners. The sanding block's just a piece of MDF board with some, I think it's about 80 grit sandpaper, just super glued to it to make it a flat surface to sand flat. It comes really in handy for getting everything square when you're sanding. Next up, I'm putting just the edge around the top of the bin where the opening is. On real bins, there's usually a bit of square tubing around there, so I'm just using some square styrene rod. I think it's 2mm square, and just going around the hole outside. Give it a bit of a file. It's just going all the way around the outside. I think I've lost something there, and then just touching up glues and stuff like that. And now, once this is glued down, I'm clamping there because the glue was not wanting to stick in one corner. So I've got some new glue out and 3D line out. Filed it up. I think this is the last section I had to do here. I'm just talking you through it as I watch what I've been doing. I don't work this fast, obviously. It's obviously like 4 times the speed. Here I'm just shaping the edges, and there I'm flattening it as well because the front edge sat flat against the front surface, but I wanted an angle on the top, so I have to sand the angle in to the top with my flat board. And I'm just re-gluing some bits that are popping up and annoying me. With the sandpaper I'm using there, it's this sandpaper I found at the hardware store. It's $2.20 and it's on like a rubber backing and it's fully bendable. It's great for sanding and doing modifications when on bodies and stuff. At the moment I'm making the side panels where the forks for the truck go in to lift the bin. I've used some H column styrene, and I just shaved one side of the H off so it's like a U shape. I'm just cleaning it up here. And next I just glued it's hard to see what I'm doing here because it's so small. 2 flat sheets I've just glued on the either end of it, and then I start to shape them into the shape of the supports for the U-shaped things that are on the side. I don't know what they're called. So it's just reinforcing on the truck, so when the truck lifts it up, it doesn't rip off the side when they've got heaps of weight in them. This is kind of fiddly, so I was working this out as I went as well. I just use little hobby files from the hardware. They're just like small detail files. I cut a lot of styrene with the yellow and black snips on the table there. I don't know what brand they are, there's whatever I could find. I generally cut the styrene and then file it flat. So as you can see here, I've got some angle, it's just right angle, not sure what size, maybe it's 2.5, and I've just put it on the front corners, like on all the dumpsters where the truck hits them, and they often dent heaps, so I think they decided to put them on there to stop the damage. And then they were too thick, so I'm just filing them and then sanding them flat again. This is just to make them blend in a bit more with the body, so they don't look like they're thick. Because remember, it's roughly 1mm on a 1/24 scale is about an inch. So inch thick steel's quite thick. So there you go. I also made these little things in the corners for the door to swing on. Now I'm cutting a lid, 2-piece lid, just sizing it up here, and then I'm putting on some angle from the back. I'm just adding details off the top of my head here. I didn't actually copy anything for these lids. I just sort of made it up as I went because there's so many different dumpsters on Google. It's ridiculous. So I just put angle around the outsides of it and filing the corners and then sizing it up. I'm just taping it here so I can drill a hole through the angle and to run a rod across the back for the lids to pivot on, like they do on the real dumpsters. So I'm just trimming here, sizing up. Here we go, I'm drilling the holes. I think I've used like I think it might have been a 0.75mm drill and some piano wire to make a hinge. I'm just feeding it in to make sure it works. It goes up and down, see, opens and closes. And then I decided to put in some extra details. So this is like really thin styrene strips. And I'm not sure if you can see. I put a strip around the outside because I want the whole outside to have like a thick edge around it. So I put some around the outside here. That's what I'm gluing on now. It's quite fiddly, and I'm just squishing it all together and trimming it up a bit. Where the rod goes across the back, I didn't put these detail strips right to the back of the lid, so they'll have room for the rod to slide through. So here I am now, all done. Got some more stuff, gluing it on, making some strips. What I do there is that that tongue depressor, the bit of wood there, I just blob some super glue on there, and I drag the really thin styrene through the puddle of super glue. It's just easier to get super glue on the whole bottom end, so it glues evenly. Now I'm just trimming down the excess L bracket around the outside to make it level with the small strips I just screwed on. You'll see all this detail later when I show you pictures of a finished product. It's hard to see because it's all white and the lighting sort of just blurs it out a bit here. I ran 3 strips across here. I was going to attempt to make the plastic style lids they have on them, but I didn't really want to spend that much time because this is just going in a back alleyway on one of my dioramas. Right now I'm just bending the similar piano wire into U shapes to make a handle to lift the lids up. I'm just drilling through with that small drill bit and then pushing it through. This took a lot of fiddly work because you really have to line up the holes that the wire is going through really well. And as you can see, I struggled a bit. So here we go, there's the lid there with the details, the wire. I just slide the wire through the lid, through there. You'll see close-ups of it later so you know what's going on there. Then I'll just feed it into the end bits. The wire here is not trimmed, gets trimmed down later. And there you go, a dumpster. I'll have another video I've just made as well of me painting it and detailing it. So that'll be on here as well. Thank you.